Welcome back to 1337, The Future of Podcast. I'm Max.
And I'm Sophia.
Ready to jump into another deep dive.
Let's do it.
Okay, so today we're going deep into the world of Bitcoin, but with a bit of a twist. We're cracking open Ben Mezrich's Bitcoin Billionaires.
Oh, this should be good. The Winklevoss twins, right?
You got it. Those Winklevoss twins, remember them from the whole Facebook thing with Zuckerberg?
Yeah, how could anyone forget that?
This time, it's not about social media. We're talking about the Wild West of early Bitcoin.
I'm intrigued already.
So Mezrich basically paints this picture of these Olympic rowers who, after the whole Facebook ordeal, they turn into venture capitalists. They're determined to make their mark on Silicon Valley, but their reputation's
it's complicated.
The book starts in 2008. The twins are fresh off their legal battle with Zuckerberg. Big settlement, but yeah, like you said, their reputation precedes them.
Imagine walking into a room of Silicon Valley investors, and they basically tell you your money's marked.
Ouch.
Yeah, talk about a harsh reality check. They quickly realize they need to find something truly groundbreaking, something even more disruptive than Facebook to really prove themselves.
Enter Bitcoin.
And how did they stumble upon Bitcoin in the first place?
So it's not your typical boardroom investment story. Imagine this. A chance encounter at a Miami nightclub.
Okay, this is getting interesting.
With some mysterious figure who just starts dropping some serious Bitcoin knowledge.
Suddenly they're hooked.
They start buying Bitcoin like crazy, reading everything they can get their hands on, trying to, really wrap their heads around this whole revolutionary technology.
But remember, these guys are Olympic athletes. They're not just going to passively invest.
Right. They dive headfirst into the tech.
Mezrich talks about how they create this elaborate offline system to store their Bitcoin. It involves safety deposit boxes, paper wallets, shards of private keys scattered across the country. I mean, it's straight out of a spy movie.
It's fascinating, right? I mean, it shows just how seriously they took Bitcoin from day one. But also, you can see the anxiety, the concern about security and trust in those early days.
You have to think about it. Bitcoin's whole thing is decentralization, taking power away from institutions, governments. But back then, everything was so new, so many unknowns.
The tech was still developing and scams were everywhere. So their security measures, they make sense in that context. They're mitigating risk in a volatile, chaotic landscape.
Alongside their own investments, they also start keeping a close eye on this young entrepreneur named Charlie Shrem and his company, BitInstant.
Oh yeah, BitInstant. That was like a way to quickly buy and sell Bitcoin, like an early version of the exchanges we have today. The twins saw huge potential, but also a ton of risk.
Why the risk?
He was brilliant, but he's also known for his love of partying, impulsive decisions. You know the type.
The twins probably found themselves in this mentor role, trying to steer him towards success, but also dodging tequila shots at the same time.
It's this clash of personalities that makes it so interesting. The disciplined Olympic rowers versus the freewheeling young CEO.
Then, in 2013, things take a turn. A financial crisis hits Cyprus.
Cyprus? What did that have to do with Bitcoin?
Everything changes for the twins after this. The Cypriot government, they're in meltdown mode, decide to do something pretty radical. A haircut on bank deposits. Basically, they take a chunk of people's savings to bail themselves out.
Whoa, that's intense.
It was a shock to everyone. And for the Winklevoss twins, it was a wake-up call.
You mean?
They see it as proof that those traditional financial systems are vulnerable, that governments, you can't always trust them to protect your money. And suddenly, Bitcoin's promise of decentralization and control over your own assets, it becomes a whole lot more appealing.
I can see how that would shift their perspective.
This is where the book starts to explore those philosophical battles within the Bitcoin community. That tension that was always there. On one side, you've got the libertarian idealists, guys like Roger Ver. They see Bitcoin as a tool to dismantle traditional power, to free individuals from government control. Then you have the entrepreneurs, the investors, like the twins, who believe that for Bitcoin to truly succeed, it needs to become more mainstream, more regulated.
And those two visions clash, don't they?
All the time. It creates this constant friction within the community.
Hey, if you're loving this deep dive into Bitcoin billionaires, make sure to check out our website, 1337podcast.com. We've got more episodes and exclusive content there, always exploring this fascinating world of technology.
So back to the story. This philosophical debate is playing out all around the twins, especially with Charlie and BitInstant.
Right, because they want to steer the company towards legitimacy, working within the existing financial system.
And others see it as a chance to, flip the system on its head.
Exactly. It's a real dilemma for them. And it raises questions about the very future of Bitcoin. What will it become? A tool for anarchy or a path to mainstream acceptance?
The tension escalates as Charlie's behavior gets more and more unpredictable, and his ties to figures like Roger Ver deepen. The twins are walking a tightrope, trying to support their investment, but also navigate the ethical and reputational risks involved.
It's a high-stakes game, and the stakes just keep getting higher as the story unfolds.
We're diving back into the world of Bitcoin billionaires.
Picking up where we left off with the Winklevoss twins and their Bitcoin adventure.
Things are about to get really, really interesting.
Remember all that tension we talked about? The clash between the twins wanting Bitcoin to go mainstream and those libertarian ideals of guys like Roger Ver.
Oh yeah, that was intense.
Well, get this. It all comes to a head in a pretty dramatic way.
Mezrich describes this moment where Charlie Shrem, remember him, Bit Instant, he's facing pressure from the twins, the government's breathing down his neck.
What does he do?
He decides to escape to Panama.
He just takes off.
Yep. Parties on a yacht with models instead of dealing with the consequences.
Talk about youthful recklessness, right? It's a crazy reminder of how volatile things were back then.
Meanwhile, back in the U.S., the Winklevoss twins get hit with a major setback.
What happens?
They get a subpoena from the government.
Seriously?
They're being investigated as part of this whole crackdown on Bitcoin and its potential for illegal activities.
That must have been a shock to them.
Totally. Remember, they were going to extreme lengths to keep everything legit, advocating for regulations and all that.
But they still get caught up in the government's net.
It shows how the system was still grappling with this new technology, trying to figure out where it fit in.
And then the news drops that Charlie Shrem gets arrested.
At JFK, coming back from Amsterdam.
What a downfall for the guy who was once this Bitcoin visionary.
The charges were serious. Money laundering, failing to report suspicious activity, operating without a license.
All because of his connection to Silk Road, that online black market.
Exactly. Authorities said he knowingly helped process Bitcoin transactions used to buy illegal drugs.
This whole thing rocked the Bitcoin community.
It definitely cast a shadow over the twins and their investment in Bit Instant.
It must have been in a tough spot.
Imagine trying to build this legitimate business, convince everyone that Bitcoin is more than just a tool for criminals, and then your protege ends up facing serious jail time.
It's a PR nightmare.
They had to walk this fine line.
Trying to distance themselves from Charlie while also protecting their own interests.
And still advocating for the future of Bitcoin.
It's crazy how one wrong move can derail everything.
It really highlights the risks that come with investing in emerging tech.
That line between innovation and illegal activity can be so blurry.
Even for investors with the best intentions.
It's a cautionary tale for sure.
But it also shows how resilient the twins were.
How so?
They didn't just abandon Bitcoin altogether.
Right, they doubled down on their efforts to bring it into the mainstream.
They kept meeting with financial bigwigs, giving talks, pushing for that regulated Bitcoin ETF.
They saw that as the key to wider adoption.
A more stable market.
Of course, they ran into a lot of resistance.
Yep. The old guard of finance was skeptical. Some called it a bubble, others worried about money laundering.
But the twins were undeterred.
They truly believed Bitcoin could revolutionize the system, empower individuals.
Create a fairer, more transparent world.
They were willing to weather the storms, take the criticism.
It's that same drive that made them Olympic rowers.
That fueled their fight against Zuckerberg.
And Mezrich also talks about how they were dealing with a personal tragedy at the time.
The loss of their sister.
It's a reminder that their Bitcoin journey wasn't just about money or tech, it was something deeper.
A search for meaning.
A desire to have a positive impact.
Meanwhile, Bitcoin itself is changing.
Evolving.
New players are coming in, big money is flowing, the whole infrastructure is maturing.
It's moving beyond those early associations with the dark web.
Becoming more accessible.
The price is still volatile, but you can't deny its potential.
And the twins are at the forefront, adapting, learning.
Shaping the future of this revolutionary technology.
Their story shows that Bitcoin is more than just digital currency.
It's a movement.
A force for change.
A challenge to the established order.
It makes you wonder, what role will they ultimately play in shaping this new world? Back for the final chapter of our deep dive into Bitcoin billionaires.
The Winklevoss twins. They're at a crossroads now.
After everything that went down with Bit Instant and Charlie Shrem.
They have a tough choice to make. What do they do about their investment?
I mean, they could try to save the company, right?
But the whole Silk Road thing, the legal troubles.
That's just too risky.
They have to balance their own interests with their vision for Bitcoin's future.
What did they decide?
They cut their losses, walked away from Bit Instant.
That must have been a hard decision.
It was, but it shows they were thinking long term.
They knew that for Bitcoin to gain real legitimacy, it had to separate itself from the dark side of the internet.
And what about Charlie?
He faced the music, went to trial, ended up serving 2 years in prison for his role in the whole money laundering scheme.
A sad ending for a guy with so much potential.
It's a reminder that even in the disruptive world of tech, the law still matters.
The twins, though, they came out of it okay.
They learned some hard lessons about risk and due diligence.
They saw how crucial it is to play by the rules.
But they never lost sight of their goal.
To bring Bitcoin to everyone.
They still believed that a regulated Bitcoin ETF was the way to do it.
Make it easy for regular people to invest in Bitcoin.
Through their usual brokerage accounts.
No more complicated hoops to jump through.
They faced pushback from regulators.
The traditional finance folks weren't convinced.
But the twins kept at it.
Met with officials. Gave talks.
And finally, in 2015,
they launched Gemini,
a regulated Bitcoin exchange based in New York.
A huge step forward.
A sign that the Bitcoin market was maturing.
Becoming more trustworthy.
It was a stepping stone to that ETF they'd been dreaming of.
Bridging the gap between the old financial world and the new world of crypto.
They wanted to make Bitcoin accessible to everyone.
Not just the techies.
Not just the people operating in the shadows.
They believed it could change everything.
Give people more control over their money.
Create a more equal financial system.
But it wasn't just about the money for them.
Mezrich makes that clear.
It was personal.
They'd grown a lot since those early days.
Went from being known as the Winklevoss to being respected figures in the Bitcoin world.
They'd been through so much.
Setbacks, public scrutiny, personal loss.
They came out stronger.
More determined.
They embraced innovation.
Challenged the way things were done.
And they did it with a certain humility.
They never let their wealth or their fame go to their heads.
They stayed focused on what mattered.
Their story is inspiring, don't you think?
Absolutely. It shows the power of perseverance.
Of believing in something bigger than yourself.
So where does it all go from here?
What's next for the Winklevoss twins and Bitcoin?
Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure.
They changed the game.
They helped to legitimize Bitcoin.
Made it more mainstream.
Paved the way for wider adoption.
And they proved that even when things are tough.
Even when the odds are stacked against you.
You can still make a difference.
You can still achieve your dreams.
If you're interested in more stories like this, deep dives into tech and innovation, be sure to check out our website, 1337podcast.com.
We've got a whole library of episodes waiting for you.
Thanks for joining us.
Strength and honor. I am Spartacus.
Thanks for watching. Tap into 1337podcast.com.